not something you get to do every day.
Our roll out the best of Northeast Ohio.
We have large offerings.
Once again, it's time for another helping of Live from the Circle.
It's going to be a surprise to all of us, and we're going to love it.
Care to put that in writing?
There's nothing like this anywhere else.
Hi, thanks for joining us for Live from the Circle, where, using the resources of Northern Ohio Live magazine, we bring you the best of Northeast Ohio. I'm Bill Boronkay. Tonight, we are going to take you to one of the busiest little streets in the country. Recognize some artists recognized for creating in our town, and nationally renowned chef and author Michael Ruhlman will bring one of his friends to our kitchen to do a little creating of their own. If you haven't noticed, we have set up shop at possibly the signature landmark of Cleveland's turnaround, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Not so long ago, there was a buzzard circling around town. In the 70s and 80s, WMMS changed the way rock rolled across the country. Recently, former program director John Gorman released a book about it. It's a book we couldn't put down.
Hi, this is Dan. We have a 25-song music marathon on WMMS.
The early 70s, a great time to be a buzzard.
What else would you expect to see flying over Cleveland in those days? This was the 70s. This is when the city was going into default. I mean, the city was in terrible, terrible shape. And it was a dying city. You know, all these Fortune 500 companies were moving up.
But hope was found on the radio.
The city itself was in bad shape, and it was, all kinds of things were going wrong, and it was sort of the joke, and it was, everyone was making fun of Cleveland. But the one thing that really caught on, I think, was this rock and roll spirit, and I think a lot of that was due to MMS's influence.
Influential beyond the borders, WMMS grew to national prominence. An amazing feat, considering Denny Sanders and John Gorman couldn't even get anyone to listen to The Idea.
We knocked on every door of every radio station in the city saying, we have this idea for a format, and slammed. Nobody wanted to talk to us. So, suddenly I'm here, it was July of 1973, and Denny and I say to each other, hey, I think we can pull it off here.
Things couldn't have timed out better. See, sister station WHK AM was huge, so WHK FM became WMMS.
The FM was still considered the byproduct. In fact, early on in FM was called Find Me. That's what it meant. But while they're putting all this money and effort into WHK, nobody was watching the store on the FM, and allowed us to develop WMMS into what it became.
With just 5 months to prove themselves or become a country station, the buzzard spread its wings with an approach unlike any other in the country.
We said, we're going to take this wider. We're going to play good R&B music. We'll play some oldies. We'll play some stuff that is pure pop music. And, we'll put it all together and see what happens.
What happened, WMMS became a major force in not just Cleveland, but in breaking acts, like some guy named Springsteen.
They really started promoting him. Kid Leo certainly was a big Bruce fan and Bruce supporter, and they started playing his records, and this became, and then he played several shows here over the course of a short span period of time, and this became his sort of home away from home. And MMS did that with a lot of artists. I mean, I think David Bowie, I think, played his first U.S. concerts in Cleveland. Roxy Music, Lou Reed, a lot of artists that MMS got behind.
The personalities grew with the station.
Hi, this is Dee in WMMS Control.
Jeff and Flash in the morning, Kid Leo, Marie Saul, all these great personalities, Matt the Cat, and that was just a wonderful thing too, is you really identified with the DJs, and so you sort of felt like you had a relationship with them.
In The Buzzard, inside the glory days of WMMS and Cleveland Rock Radio, Gorman shares stories and trade secrets, like how WMMS was able to introduce music before its time.
John had this thing under his desk called the Switch. When record company promo man would come in to play him an album, sometimes a couple months before release or whatever, he'd flip the switch and a tape recorder in the other room would tape the song, and then they'd be able to get it on the air.
I'd always be like, I really, let me hear the next cut. This is really good. And I'm saying, even if I don't like the cut, I'm saying, well, I want to have the whole album.
The heydays may be long gone, but the Buzzard's biggest legacy stands tall on the shore of Lake Erie.
A large part of the reason the Rock Hall is here is because of the rock culture that Cleveland had back in the 60s and 70s and the early 80s. USA Today did a poll of where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame should be. MMS, really got all their listeners to vote and all that, and we got like over 100,000 votes. To Memphis was second with 30,000 or something like that. So I mean, MMS really, they really got the city behind the idea, and that really, I think, is part of what convinced the folks in New York to come here.
Special times in a special place.
People who come into Cleveland say, there's nothing like this anywhere else. And how come my radio station isn't playing those kind of things? We pushed it to the limit, and we never were satisfied. It was like as soon as we had one victory, we were on to the next one.
John's out on his book tour. If you get a chance to catch him, do so. The guy has tons of fascinating stories. Another story worth repeating again and again. How about 4th Street? The entertainment, dining, and housing district is a model for urban renewal. And get this, 4th, it's only 450 feet long.
Fourth Street? It's barely long enough to be 4th Alley.
It's a lifestyle street. We hear about lifestyle centers. Well, here's a lifestyle street right in downtown Cleveland.
Every day, more feet are stepping on this cobblestone.
4th Street is, for us, is bringing a lot of multiple venues into the area to grow it so that we can enhance people wanting to live here and entertain them, the ones that are living in these condominiums and apartments here, bringing more people from the outskirts here to enjoy downtown Cleveland, give them a reason to go and enhance the other entertainment.
This alley continues to get busier, with new businesses opening and more on the way. What's unique about 4th? Most of the destinations are unique.
We're not your typical bowling alley. It's there, and that feeds its own purpose, but we want to provide an upscale environment where people have a good time. It's entertaining, it's lively, it's musical. I call this like the disco version of bowling.
More than falling pins, the corner alley features the 4th Street Bar and Grill, with food from scratch and over 40 signature cocktails. Still, situations arise.
1,000 maximum.
Oh, you're talking pretty tough. Pretty bad for a lady in rented shoes.
You just gotta.
We also have a space that's called Millionaires Row, and that's really great for groups who want to be secluded. There are 4 private bowling lanes, a billiard table, and a bar in that space. So it's just really cool.
Feeling blue, Z.
Come back anytime.
4th Street's got your home.
The House of Blues is, not just celebrating music, which is, oftentimes the impression, but it's also a celebration of the arts in general. So one thing that we started in the very beginning of the company is, this folk art collection. And that's what you see on the walls here is, all original pieces by folk artists from all across the country.
Since opening 3 years ago, the House of Blues has surprised many with not just the variety of musicians, but the variety of dining choices.
Fall off the bone ribs. We've got great rosemary cornbread with a maple butter that's just gonna knock your socks off, I promise. That is a Southern Delta inspired cuisine downstairs, and then we also have our foundation room, which has its own kitchen as well, and it's its own staff and its own unique menu.
While 4th Street continues to evolve, there remains one constant.
Flannery's is an icon here. People know it. It's been around for 12 years now. They love it. It's the neighborhood bar. It's where everybody knows everybody else's name. It's just not only just an Irish pub bar, it is the place to just hang out.
Hankering for more? Cross the street for a heaping helping of Pickwick and Frolic.
Part of our theme is abundance. We don't have little morsels on a big plate. We have large offerings.
More than a restaurant, in its 5 years on 4th, Pickwick's become one of Cleveland's top attractions, serving up entertainment to satisfy every taste. Besides the restaurant, there's Kevin's Martini Bar, the Frolic Cabaret, and their Midnight Martini Show.
That's a very kind of Vegas-esque kind of show. That is, it's Vegas in style, it's tuxedos, sequin gowns, and we do Rat Pack music.
Downstairs is Hilarities, the comedy club that USA Today calls one of the country's best.
It's something between a club and theater. It's a 400-seat room. It's more state-of-the-art in the sense that it offers a more comfortable environment and one that's designed particularly and uniquely for viewing comedy.
Corner alley let me bowl.
Yeah.
House of Blues gave me 2 show tickets.
Yeah.
I should be on stage here.
We only book the top names in comedy. All due respect.
Respectfully, this is one happening street.
When some place is busy, you just go across the alley and there's another great place to be able to go.
Yep, on 4th, just about anything's possible. Well, I'm on Live from the Circle. Get it? Seriously. I hate you.
Hey, it was a tough crowd. All fall, Live from the Circle showcased different art centers throughout the area, and now everyone realizes we live in an arts hotbed. Well, you'd think someone would recognize the artists. Someone has, and that someone, the Cleveland Arts Prize.
Fundraising for the Cleveland Art Prize makes sense to team up prize winners.
Brendan Ring, the owner of Nighttown, is our 2007 winner. He won an Arts Prize award for bringing music to Cleveland, as he does it with his jazz performances at Nighttown. And Howie Smith, who is an Arts Prize winner in music, is performing. It'll be a concert, dinner, get to meet Howie. It brings the community together.
Art comes in many forms, and the Cleveland Arts Prize notices, then makes the artists notice. Since 1960, the Cleveland Arts Prize has honored 230 different artists with awards.
What's so exciting is that it's across all disciplines. I mean, we've got great visual arts, great music and dance, and design, and we're looking at artists across all spectrums, and in literature as well. So I think the diversity is what's really compelling.
What's compelling for the organization, getting Cleveland's artists recognized and getting Cleveland's artists in Cleveland.
It makes sense to be honoring artists who live and work in Cleveland, or the greater Cleveland area. Our goal is to make artists want to come here. We're looking for endowment for our prizes so that we can award more money, so that people will say, let's move to Cleveland because they support the arts, that we nurture artists. It's a great community for that.
Proof of the local art community's strength can be seen in the winners getting recognized across the country.
In 2006, Jimmy Scott won a prize. He then went on to win a Kennedy Center Medal. Diane McIntyre won in 2006 for dance. And that same year she won 2 Bessies, which are national awards.
Art is, of course, subjective. As a matter of fact, anyone can be nominated for a Cleveland Arts Prize. Then the fun begins, judging.
We have a jury process, so all of our award recipients are chosen by a jury of their peers. And so it's artists within the community, patrons, artistic leaders that will select the winners. They will then be presented to the board, and we will discuss it at the board meeting.
People have felt incredibly honored to be honored in their hometown and honored by a jury of their peers. It is an important thing, and it's a very validating thing, and it makes you feel like you are successful and people are noticing what you're doing and that you've achieved a certain level of excellence.
Howie Smith demonstrates more of what the Cleveland Arts Prize is all about at the February 24th fundraiser, Arts Prize Alive. The annual event always delivers plenty of surprises.
Howie Smith is performing with Rock Werman, who's a pianist. Their musical composition is called, if I'm correct, quoting Howie, Something Old, Something New, Something Borrowed, Still Not Blue. And it's because they're not playing blues. I don't know what they're playing, but it's going to be a surprise to all of us, and we're going to love it.
You get to have some real time with an artist and to really talk to him about why he's in Cleveland, what he does here, and he's a well-renowned artist, and to hear about what he's playing, why he's playing, and what he's doing. It's just great to spend some true time with the artist. It's not something you get to do every day.
An evening at Nighttown always draws a crowd. The fundraiser always packs art lovers in to different places, like in 2006 at the Nottingham and Spurk facility.
It's absolutely incredible. It's breathtaking, and it's interesting to see the way people incorporate art into their lives in different ways. So from a design perspective, that was really interesting. We then went to Kathy Berry's house. She's a past prize winner as well. She's the co-chair of the board, and she's got an amazing art collection.
While Ring, Smith, and countless others are working on the fundraiser, work continues on the annual awards event in June at the Cleveland Playhouse. A large workload to help keep Cleveland's artists working in Cleveland.
These people live here and work here and should be cherished and touted, just as our sports figures are, as our medical figures are. I mean, it's a very important part of our community. Arts are important to the community, and they represent the risk takers and the creative people. We want to keep them here.
For more information about the Cleveland Arts Prize or their fundraiser, just go to clevelandartsprize.org. You know, at times, all of us are going to face challenges in our life, but a special few can turn those obstacles into missions that affect not just those around us, but many people we'll never even meet. As Dave Bacon found, that's what the Bright Side of the Road Foundation is all about.
Barry Winovich was living a normal life. Then things started to change. Speech got a little slurred. Muscles started to twitch. After testing, Barry had to deliver the news to his friends.
He walked into my kitchen and swung a bat like Lou Gehrig would do. And we knew at that point that he had been diagnosed formally and decisively with Lou Gehrig's disease.
The neuromuscular disease is fatal. To this day, the diagnosed have a life expectancy of just 3 to 5 years.
One of the first questions I asked Dr. Pioro was, well, do you think we'll find a cure? He said, maybe tomorrow and maybe never. And that's a hard thing to really think about, but truly there may be a cure tomorrow.
It is such a devastating disease. It's probably one of the most brutal and serious diseases that we treat in neurology, and perhaps any disease out there.
Most diseases, there's a drug that you can take to slow the process down or just to stop symptoms, or there's a surgery. With ALS, there's absolutely nothing. And that's, even if we have a drug to slow it down or anything to help, is what we're looking for.
The search for a cure can seem exhausting, but it leads right back to Northeast Ohio.
We travel around to Boston and New York and Chicago. We circle back to the fact that we have one of the finest research institutes for neurodegenerative diseases right here in Cleveland.
ALS is a merciless disease, taking its toll on more than the diagnosed.
We have 3 children. Our oldest is a daughter, Katie, who's 12, Charlie, who's 10, and William is 5. They're also concerned about their dad. Like, a lot of times Barry can't cut his food at dinner, and they'll sit there and help him, or can't button his pants, and they just do it.
You would never imagine the amount of people, not only Kelly and the kids, but friends of mine and guys who now have to button my pants because I can't get it done. And almost every time someone does it, I laugh because, I mean, it's until you have it done, then you have no idea what it's like.
ALS never met a family like the Winoviches. Along with friends, they took action, creating the Bright Side of the Road Foundation. The name reflects the attitude.
We felt we needed to do something. And we wanted to ensure that we had something positive to focus on. Bright Side was initially just going to be a party, and it turned into much more than that.
I thought that Bright Side would be a great vehicle for us to get money. And to me, Bright Side, when people talk about it, I mean, truly, I want it to be fun.
First Waltz is one of Brightside's top events. The fundraiser is truly a party. In 2006, 6 bands played and the night raised $250,000.
Our goal at Bright Side of the Road Foundation is to set up a fund at the Lerner Research Institute that is the keystone for funding for ALS research. Those endowment funds tend to be a lightning rod for attracting the best researchers from around the country.
We are going to figure this thing out. There's no doubt in my mind.
If we have the donations and we give them to the clinic, then hopefully we'll find a cure and continue on and live bold and happy lives.
Amazing how much change just a couple people can stimulate. Inspirational stuff. We're at the Rock Hall where things are always changing. Make a point to come down this weekend or pick out something else to do off our buzz. When it comes to food, hey, we know how to eat, but preparing meals, that's when we go to nationally renowned chef and author Michael Ruhlman. Tonight, Michael tackles dessert with Lola's Corey Barrett.
The idea is salt in desserts. Something you don't see too often at home anyway. But
No,
in
we
the
don't even
restaurants-
think about it.
Yeah, it's a shame, really. But in the restaurants, we see it a lot. In doughs, in just sweets, everyday sweets, chocolate and caramel and things like that. You definitely see it. So I'm going to do two desserts here today. And the first one's going to be fresh summer berries in a red wine reduction. And then the second is going to be a kind of a childhood classic for me, turtle sundae.
Great.
Involves caramel and chocolate and all that good stuff.
All right, let's get going.
So the first one we're going to do is the berries, and we're going to add just a little bit of the red wine reduction here. And you're going to reduce it just to a kind of a syrupy consistency.
So you have about a cup total?
About a cup to a cup and a half total in the end. We're just going to add a little bit of fine sea salt to it.
And why do you do that?
Well, the salt's going to bring out the flavor of the berry. It's going to accentuate the sweetness, but also highlight different notes in the berry. A little bit of lemon zest, just for a great fragrance. Some lemon juice, fresh of course, always. And we're just going to let that simmer just for about 15 to 20 seconds.
Just gently. You don't want to cook. You're not really
No,
cooking the berries.
you definitely don't want to hit it too hard. We're going to add the berries in real quick. And like you said, you don't want to overcook the berries whatsoever.
And that's
Just
it.
maybe-
This is the base. This is your dessert.
This is it. This is why you get paid all the big bucks, you know?
Simple. So anytime you see beautiful berries, it's a great dessert that you
Oh,
can
absolutely.
make. Easy wine.
Just wine reduction. A little bit of fresh honey, maybe even. Some cream on the top is what we're going to put now. If you can't have cream, then stay away from it, please, at home. But and then just a crack of pepper right on the top.
Pepper. Now, pepper and berries.
Pepper and berries is a delightful thing.
Great
Pepper and beef, pepper and berries. It's a P&B thing.
Beautiful.
The next one we're going to do is the turtle sundae.
Turtle sundae. I never knew what a turtle sundae was until today.
It's a shame. It really is.
I'm sorry.
One of my favorites as a kid, still even as an adult, a little bit more mature now than it was then. We have a little bit of flourless chocolate cake here. We're just going to put a few pieces in the bottom.
Need to get ice cream out here.
And then we have some lovely vanilla ice cream. Did you make this, or did I made this? This is vanilla bean ice cream with fresh Tahitian vanilla bean, actually, right in the bowl there. A little bit of caramel sauce. That you can make this at home. This
How
is
do you do-
about
what's the ratio for
about
a
2
caramel
cups of sugar, a little bit of water, caramelize it. Then you're going to add 2 cups of heavy cream to it, and then also we're going to add just a little bit of fleur de sel on top. And just a touch of candied pecans.
And the salt
Top it off.
finishing is what?
Sea salt from Brittany coast in France. It just has a really nice texture, great crunch to it, a nice salinity, much more flavor than an iodized salt or something like that.
So by finishing salt, you mean what?
Something that costs a little bit more. You're definitely going to pay up to $20 a pound for things like this. What we used here to dissolve in the liquid, if you will, was just a fine sea salt, less expensive, usually about $3.
Interesting. Salt and pepper on desserts.
Salt and pepper on desserts, quite delicious stuff.
Interesting combination. Man, who'd have thunk it? Thanks, guys. Hey, it's just about time for us to roll, but before we go, I want to thank everyone who helped put this show together, and of course, our good friends at the Rock Hall, where every time you come down here, it's a new experience. They got different exhibits coming in all the time. For more information on anything you saw tonight or shows from the past, go to our website, livefromthecircle.com. Again, thanks for joining us, and we'll look for you on the next Live from the Circle. I'm Bill Boronkay. Good night.
Within walking distance to Cleveland's music, art, and cultural centers, Park Lane Villa was named Cleveland's best new address. With 24/7 concierge service, a historical grand ballroom, and speakeasy, Park Lane Villa breathes elegance. Park Lane Villa, living the sweet life in the Circle. South Franklin Circle. Live the way you choose in a 90-acre community designed by world-renowned architect Graham Gunn. 440-247-6767 or online at southfranklincircle.org. Bringing Northern Ohio to your door every month, Northern Ohio Live magazine's proud to support Live from the Circle. Dining, theater, basically all that's unique to our region can be found on northernohiolive.com. Arts, culture, and living. Northern Ohio Live.